Erev Tov, Shalom Aleichem. And tonight, as our custom is, we will have a story, or actually a double header, two stories before the class. This is in honor of the great festival, the great special Chasidic celebration of Chai Elul, the 18th of the Hebrew month of Elul, which is the birthdays of the great luminaries, the Me'oros HaGedolim, the Shneior HaGedolim, the founder of the general Chasidic movement, Rabbi Yisroel Ba'al Shemtov HaKodesh, Rabbi Yisroel Ba'al Shemtov, and the founder of the Chabad Chassidic philosophy and the Chabad movement as well, Rabbi Shneior Zalman of Liadi. And in this order, we'll begin with the Ba'al Shemtov. There's a famous story in regard to the Ba'al Shemtov and his relationship with his students. He felt very close to his students, and his students, as much as they revered and had awe from their master, they also felt the great love that he had for them. And this is also one of the ways that they were able to bring about the courage to request things that usually a person wouldn't request. On one of these opportunities, the students came to the Ba'al Shemtov and they asked him, "Please, our great master, we would like to have a revelation of Eliyahu Hanavi, Elijah the prophet." The Ba'al Shemtov said to them, "Okay, if you're asking in this manner, you'll be able to have this revelation as well." And the Ba'al Shemtov said, "You should go to this and this town, and you should hide, and you should look at this at a certain home, and the first person that comes out of the home is going to be Eliyahu Hanavi." The students were unbelievably excited, and they immediately got into a horse and carriage and they traveled to this place, and they waited, hiding, and they're waiting and waiting until finally there is a person that in the door opens and a person walks out of the entrance. Who is this person? They look at the person, they gaze upon the person, and they just can't understand what's going on. This person looked like a very honorable person, but he looked like a very honorable land baron. He didn't even look Jewish. And they're thinking, what exactly is going on here? The Ba'al Shemtov said, "But this guy, there's no way. It can't be. It's not logical." And they're looking, and as this person takes strides from the opening of the home till the road, where a beautiful a carriage with beautiful white horses are waiting in order to take him on his way. The students are saying to themselves, "How can we approach such a person? It doesn't make sense." And at the same time, they're saying, "But this is what our rabbi, the Ba'al Shemtov HaKodesh, the holy Ba'al Shemtov, told us. The first person that walks out of the home, this is Eliyahu Hanavi." So they again gathered all their courage together, and as the person was walking into and getting into his carriage and to sit down, they ran to the window of the carriage and they spoke to the person. As they spoke to the person to say Shalom Aleichem, or a good day, they spoke in jargon. In other words, they spoke in Polish, Russian. They didn't speak in Lashon HaKodesh, in Hebrew, and because they were still uncertain as to the identity of the person sitting in front of them. At this point, the person sitting there, his face became red and bright, like a flame of fire. And he looks at them and he says, "This is your belief," and he speaks in Yiddish. "This is your belief in your master, in your rabbi. Your master tells you that I'm Eliyahu Hanavi, and you turn to me and you speak to me in jargon, in a foreign language, in a Goyish language." And with that, the Eliyahu Hanavi told the driver to go on, and the carriage disappeared. The students were frightened, and they were thunderstricken to the depths of their hearts. They had the opportunity to go and to meet and to speak with Eliyahu Hanavi, and they messed up. But first of all, nevertheless, they had the opportunity to meet Eliyahu Hanavi. But the bottom line of the story is, and this is what the Ba'al Shemtov wanted to teach them, and apparently they weren't at this level at that point. When a Rebbe, when the leader of the Jewish nation of that generation, this was the Ba'al Shemtov, when a Rebbe speaks and says something, we have to go and we have to take the words of the Rebbe in their entirety, 100%, with pure emunah, pure belief, and bitochen, and pure trust, that whatever the Rebbe said, or whatever the Rebbe, our Rebbe, Rebbe Shlita Melech Ha'Moshiach says, is 100% not only true, but it's a 100% reality in our mundane life. And with this, we're able to go and to understand and to have the emunah and the bitochen and the trust to keep on going, and with Hashem's help, to immediately be able to greet the Rebbe Shlita Melech Ha'Moshiach in the third and the eternal Beis Hamikdash, and with the true and the complete Geula, Teichef Umiyad Mamash, immediately now. The next story about the Alter Rebbe, Rabbi Shneior Zalman of Liadi. The Alter Rebbe, there are many, many stories that we know about when the Alter Rebbe already became Rebbe. One of the greatest and famous stories is his arrest and liberation, and the Chag HaGeula, the celebration of his redemption, of his liberation, on the 19th of the Hebrew month of Kislev. But we're going to address a story when he was a young boy, and already from his young years, he was acknowledged as an outstanding Torah scholar. As a matter of fact, it's told that at the age of 8 years old, the Alter Rebbe wrote a commentary on the Torah, and this commentary included 3 of the great giants of the commentators on the Torah: Rashi, Rabbi Shlomo Yitzchaki, the Ibn Ezra, Rabbi Avraham ben Ezra, and the Ramban, Rabbi Moshe ben Nachmanides. And with that, 2 years went by, and all of a sudden, he had a dream. And he was dreaming that he was in the Cheder Sheni. It's called the second room. In those days, as we have today, copied from then. So there was a main hall, which was the main synagogue, and there were also as you entered, there were another 2 minor halls, small rooms, and these were called the Cheder Sheni, Cheder Shlishi, second room, third room. And he dreamt, the Alter Rebbe, as a boy of 10 years old, he dreamt that he was in the second room, and all of a sudden came in Rabbi Reuven Ba'al Shem. Rabbi Reuven Ba'al Shem, he was a very great scholar, Torah scholar, but he was also a very saintly person. He knew how to he knew how to go into, and he had skulos to go into to remedy and to bring refuah, to go and to heal people, and not only people, but also lahavdil, animals that were not well, that were not sick. People would bring him from all over in order to go and to bring the healing to their animals. Animals were very, very dear in those days. They were very expensive. Nevertheless, Rav Reuven Ba'al Shem comes in, and he takes the Alter Rebbe by the hand, and he tells him, listen, you're being called to a din Torah. You're being called to a Torah, a Torah judgment. Right? Torah judgment, and he's supposed to be judged. Who's judging him, and for what? And Rav Reuven Ba'al Shem said, "Don't worry, come with me." He led him from the second room. By the way, the smaller rooms, they received also a title, Chabadnitzes. In other words, they were like they were found usually in Chabad Kehilas, where people would not only daven in the main shul, but they would also sit and learn and make and have preparations for davening in these smaller rooms. But Rav Reuven Ba'al Shem, he led him to the main hall, and there on the southern wall were sitting three individuals. Their heads and faces were covered by talesim, and as they came closer, they saw that they were on the side, a little distant from the table of and these were the three dayanim that were with their heads covered by the talesim, the three judges, rabbinical judges. There were another three people. They were dressed in white, and they looked like saintly people. And as the Alter Rebbe was led by Rav Reuven Ba'al Shem to the judges, they stopped, and the judge in the middle, told the Alter Rebbe that he's being brought here because he was summoned for a din Torah by these three people that are standing on the other side. Who are these three people? Sure enough, the Rashi, Rabbi Shlomo Yitzchaki, the Ibn Ezra, Rabbi Avram ben Ezra, and Ramban, Rav Moshe ben Nachman. Why did they summon the Alter Rebbe, the young boy of 10 years old, of age, to a din Torah, to a court case? Because they claimed that he, the young Alter Rebbe, the young boy, is robbing them or negating them of their merit to be meritorious on the behalf of the public. And what does that mean? It means that no one's going to go and to sit down and to study their commentaries anymore. Why? Because the Alter Rebbe wrote his commentary at the age of 8 years old, let's remember. The Alter Rebbe wrote his commentary that included all the other three commentaries mentioned above. Now that the Alter Rebbe has his commentary, who's going to read their commentaries? The Alter Rebbe stood there and shuddered. He trembled, and he really didn't have anything to answer. What was he supposed to say? How could he speak up on his own behalf? Out of the innocence of his heart, he told the people of the court that if this is the case, he's going to burn his commentary. Put an end to his commentary, burn it. No one will ever have it. And he will not be in the predicament of robbing people of their benefit to give them merit to be meritorious on the behalf of the public. When these three saintly people, Rashi, Ibn Ezra, and Ramban, heard the young boy say what he said, they immediately stepped forward and they placed their hands on the Alter Rebbe's head, the young boy's head, and they blessed him. They blessed him that he'll be successful in his studies, all his studies, but not only will he be successful in his studies, but he will bring about innovations and novelties in the understanding of Torah. And furthermore, he will bring about a novelty in the manners in which a Jew can serve Hashem Yisborach. A Jew can serve Hashem, blessed be He. And not only this, but there will be thousands and tens of thousands, myriads of the people of Israel, of the Jewish nation, in all the generations to come, until the revelation of Moshiach Tzidkenu, that will follow in his light, that will follow in his guidance and teachings. As we know today, the blessing came to fruition. But that was not the end of the story. When the Alter Rebbe, the young boy of 10 years old, when he woke up, he was extremely with very high anxiety, and he was greatly worried, because to go through such an experience, which was a dream for a young boy, and then to come to the conclusion, with all the blessings that he received, that he has to go and to burn the commentary that he wrote, which took him quite a time to go and to gather together and to understand and to put down into writing. That was devastating. So the young boy of 10 years old, he sat and he fasted. He sat and made a tainus, and he fasted. And he dreamt the same dream again and again, another 2 times. When he saw that he was dreaming the same dream and it repeated itself 3 times, which is a chazakah that gives a reality to the concept that we are seeing, at that point he stood up, he gathered his strength together, and he went and he burnt his commentary. What do we have to learn from this? And by the way, when he burnt his commentary, he already had joy in his heart. It was difficult at the beginning, but when he did it, and he finally fulfilled what he did it with joy in his heart. This is one of the great teachings that we learn from the Alter Rebbe, and this is what we learn also in Chasidic philosophy, and specifically in Chabad Chassidic philosophy. There are 3 things that we find that Hasidus, amongst the other things that Hasidus brings, is elementary, and it induces these 3 things into the individual that studies Hasidic philosophy. First of all, the concept of bitul. Bitul is self-nullification. Second of all, simcha, joy. Because if we only have experiencing self-nullification and we don't have the joy afterwards, so we're bound to fall into a very deep pit, chas v'shalom, God forbid. Last but not least, true ahavas Yisrael, real love for our fellow Jew, for our fellow person. And these 3 factors we see in actuality in the story that we just heard. The fact that immediately when he heard that he was doing something wrong, the Alter Rebbe didn't stand up. He was a genius at the age of 8, or at the age of 10 when he had this dream. He could have stood up for his rights. He could have advocated on his behalf. No. He understood that this was a wrong thing that he was doing, and he said, "That's it. If it's wrong, I'll burn he'll burn his unbelievable hard work of his commentary." It wasn't the work that was bothering him. It was the benefit that it would prove to the Jewish nation that would sit and study it afterwards. This is what bothered him. But he overcome that. And that was the first thing, the beetle. The next thing is the concept of the Ahavas Yisrael, the love for a fellow Jew. Again, he did it because he understood the predicament. He understood the circumstances. It was explained to him very, very clearly that these three great tzaddikim, and he knew who they are. He was the one that when he wrote his commentary, he took everything from these three great Torah scholars. But if this is causing them pain, if this is causing them anguish, so what is his commentary worth? If it's putting these great Torah scholars in a situation where they feel melancholy, they feel pain. Ahavas Yisrael, love for a fellow Jew, to the very end. He was ready to burn his writings. After he sat and he fasted and he saw the dream again and again for the third time, then he went and he finally burnt the commentary. But he did it out of simcha, out of joy, because he knew that he was doing the right thing. And when a person knows that we're doing the right thing, we're doing what Hashem wants us to do, so then how else can we be other than in happiness, in simcha, in joy? And with Hashem's help, this is the way that we know and has been taught to us throughout the generations, from the times of Baal Shemtov, going through the Alter Rebbe, through all the Rebbeim, and especially the Rebbe Shlita Melech Ha'Moshiach. This is the way that we prepare for Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, the high holidays. This is the way that we do teshuvah, that we return to Hashem, not out of fear, not out of a feeling of contraction of the heart, but out of a feeling of, yes, we have to feel the responsibility, we have to feel the obligations that we might have fulfilled or might have missed, but it's all in a manner of returning to Hashem, in a manner of simcha, in a manner of joy. This gives us the ability to fulfill the true project of tshuva and returning to Hashem. And with Hashem's help, this is going to give us definitely a ksiva v'chasima teva, l'shana teva u'mesuka, that we should be written and inscribed for a good and sweet year. And certainly, immediately now, we'll have the revelation of the Rebbe Shlita Melech Ha'Moshiach with the Geula Hashlema V'Amitis, with the true and the complete redemption, and the Beis HaMikdash Hashlishi V'Anitzchi, the third and the complete Beis HaMikdash, Teichef u'miyad mamesh, immediately, in actuality, Yechi Adonenu, Morenu V'Rabbeinu, HaMelech HaMoshiach, Le'olam Voed.